When my brother laughed at the loss of our baby, it felt like a knife in my back, and my own family expects me to forgive him. I, 36, am an expectant father of a baby girl in about a month. My wife Riley, 35. And I have been together since our junior year of college. Our life together is amazing, but a little over 3 years ago our baby didn't make it. It was so hard for us. Luckily things are going well with this pregnancy so far, and we're thrilled but obviously a bit nervous that something could go wrong again. Riley has nightmares and tells me she's having trouble getting excited about this baby because she's terrified things will go wrong. Some context is that I'm the oldest of 3 and have a younger sister named Ella, 33, and a younger brother named Josh, 30. Josh has always been a good kid and was the golden child growing up. I honestly don't know what happened, but he did a total 180 and started partying to the point where he flunked out of law school. Josh tried acting after that, and when that didn't work out, he got a job teaching at a private high school. But Josh didn't get his contract renewed for this year's school term, and he and his wife Julia are now living with my parents rent-free. According to my mom, Josh drinks all day and has yet to make any real efforts to find another job. He's also incredibly rude and bitter towards everyone and routinely blames my parents for why his life isn't going well. Everyone in my family adores Riley, except for Josh. My wife is an attorney and went to a great law school, and I think Josh is jealous of that. He makes a lot of passive-aggressive comments about her family's wealth, i.e., his nickname for her is Princess, and loves to talk about her job as just defending sociopaths for no money. She's a federal public defender. For a while, I called out his comments as cruel and ridiculous on the spot, but Riley asked me to stop because she didn't think it was worth the aggravation. She always likes to turn the other cheek and make the other person look horrible by not reacting at all. Riley has 3 brothers and is used to rolling with the punches, so the comments don't bother her all that much. But they drive me crazy, and I've had multiple conversations with my brother about how he treats my wife. He always says he's just joking, and that he likes Riley. Yesterday was my dad's birthday, and my parents invited our entire family over for dinner. Josh seemed intoxicated when we arrived, and he had several glasses of champagne during dinner. Julia kept asking him to stop drinking, but he brushed her off. By the end of dinner, he was slurring his words and almost passed out because he was so intoxicated. At one point my mom asked Riley how her pregnancy was going. Riley said things were going well, and my mom got teary. She said she was thinking of her and knew things would go well this time. Josh then blurted out, "It can't go worse than it did the last time she was pregnant." He started laughing hysterically, and I can't describe the shock and horror on my wife's face when he said this. I told Josh his comment was not okay, but instead of shutting up he continued to laugh and said the only way it could go any worse was if she died too. He then asked me if I'd rather have Riley or the baby if it was up to me. Everyone was yelling at him, and I lost my temper. I pushed him. My brother-in-law, Ella's husband, and my dad had to pull me off him. Riley and Julia were both crying, and I told my parents we were leaving, because I couldn't be in the same room as Josh. Last I heard, they're staying with Julia's sister. But I don't give a damn, to be honest. Riley, who usually isn't bothered by Josh, has been crying all day. She says that it was the cruelest thing anyone has ever said to her. It's honestly the most upset I've seen her during the pregnancy. And that's saying a lot because of how emotionally difficult it's been for both of us. This morning I got an angry call from Riley's older brother, Ryan, who is incredibly protective of her. Riley called and told him what happened after we got home, and he helped me comfort her. Ryan asked how I could subject my pregnant wife to my idiot brother, and told me he never wanted to see Josh again. I also feel like I failed Riley by not stopping this sooner. I also got a call from my mom telling me that Josh didn't even remember what he said that morning and felt horrible when Julia told him. He's agreed to go to rehab and says he's had a drinking problem and serious depression for a while now. I told my mom I didn't care, because I didn't ever intend to be in the same room as Josh again. My mom said that she doesn't expect us to forgive him yet since she hasn't, but she hopes I'll leave the door open for us to have a relationship since the Josh we saw last night wasn't the real Josh. Has been through a lot in life, so we have to support him. She also said my behavior didn't help matters since it just upset Riley more. Basically she thinks Josh owes Riley an apology, but I owe Josh an apology and my dad an apology for ruining his birthday. I haven't spoken to my wife about any of this since I don't want to put any more stress on her, but I don't plan on apologizing or even thinking about letting her near Josh again. I also know he has a drinking problem, and that he probably wouldn't have said these things sober, but it was still unforgivable in my eyes. Am I the idiot for escalating things and for not being open to forgiving my brother after he gets help? Not the idiot. Screw that crap. You didn't ruin your dad's birthday. Golden child Josh did. Time to go no contact with your idiot brother, and low contact with your idiot mom for trying to blame you and excuse the golden child. Maybe take your dad out for lunch as a maker, but make it clear that moving forward, You, Riley grandchild, will not be going anywhere near his house. He can come over to yours alone if he wants to meet his granddaughter, but you're not taking any chances that Josh or your mom will say or do anything stupid. What's that saying about intoxicated words being sober thoughts? In vino veritas? The Josh you saw last night was the real Josh when Josh is sober. He still has the same thoughts, but his brain stops his mouth from opening and telling everybody what he's thinking. OB. Your mom is already dialing back the consequences for him. Literally, your wife hasn't stopped crying yet and your mom is already trying to sweep this under the rug. Yes. OP's mom is really putting the cart before the horse here. Josh hasn't even started rehab. Never mind gotten sober. But she's already pushing for forgiving him and supporting him. I don't believe he doesn't remember anything. How many years has this guy been dodging responsibility? Nah, he remembers. However, I think you and your wife just need to focus on yourselves in the pregnancy. Good luck. I am a family law and divorce attorney. I live in a medium-sized military town and I've been doing this for over 15 years. I'm regarded as one of the best attorneys in the region, and I take pride in my work. My services are not cheap. In fact, I probably charge one of the highest rates, if not the highest. My sister is a bit of a hippie, and she never really did anything productive with her life, which is fine as we have different priorities. She works as a cashier at an astrology hippie store. They sell rocks and t-shirts with moon phases on them and paraphernalia. That sort of stuff. She has this co-worker who's supposedly being abused by her husband. They have a few kids together as well. My sister offered to this woman without even asking me that I would represent her for free. The woman has since told her husband that she's leaving him, and she has a good lawyer who's going to help her take the kids for free. She's supposedly staying with her kids in a hotel until I help her figure something out. When my sister mentioned it to me and I told her no, she lost her temper. She freaked out and essentially said, "I already promised her you would. Don't make me go back on a promise." My sister also went on a rant about how I should be using my job to help people and not just for money. I suggested she go to law school to help all the people she wants. All this occurred at our parents' house where we had a family dinner. Our parents are divided as they've always been about us. Am I the idiot? I get that it makes my sister look bad and will probably damage her friendship, but I honestly don't care. So this woman told her husband she was leaving him, that she has a good lawyer, and that she was going to take the kids and leave for a hotel, all without speaking to you once. Wow. That's a lot for a person to do without even a quick confirmatory phone call or text. I go the extra mile and give an hour for free and tell that woman how stupid my sister is. Then refer her to more affordable attorneys. But you're well within your rights to do absolutely nothing. Well, it looks like your sister just tried to pull a my cousin Vinny and put you on the spot. Don't worry, your high rates are a clear sign that you value your job and your clients. Plus, you can't just offer free legal services to anyone who asks, especially without their consent. Advice. Tell your sister that you consulted the stars, and you cannot help her co-worker for free, because your moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter has aligned with Mars. Seeing stories like this always baffles me because what exactly are your parents divided about? The fact that you refuse a job that would normally cost several $1,000s for free just because your sister said you would. The solution is for your sister, and the parents siding with your sister to pay you to represent this woman. This way she still gets to play the hero. You can also tell sis and parent who is siding with sister that you will start telling people they sister and parent will clean their homes and fix their cars free of charge as they have no issue volunteering other people's labor. My wife and I have been together 11 years and married 9. She's got 3 kids, 20, 18 and teen with her ex, and I've got one with my ex 19 and we have one together, kindergartner. My stepson has been good friends with this kid for a couple of years. They met working the same job. He often comes to our house to play video games, and has been hanging out with our family over the last year. I never really liked him coming around because my son told me he was involved in drugs and heavy drinking. At that time I heard he wasn't earning all his money legally. It was also obvious my stepdaughter had a crush on him. He didn't go to college and works a couple jobs. He's got his own apartment and truck and seems to be doing alright for a guy his age. He comes from a rough home and he's got a bunch of younger siblings. He's very involved with them, and seems like a great role model. My stepson and son always complain about hanging out with him when girls are around. He's tall, good-looking and very charismatic. They say he steals all the girls' attention, and my stepson used to get upset with his now ex-girlfriend because she acted differently around him. He asked me for advice, which was hard for me because I thought he was right about being worried. At this point I noticed that even my wife acted slightly differently towards him than our kids' other friends. I started to think she was attracted to him, but I didn't want to worry and overthink it. On top of everything else I mentioned that could have attracted her to him, she also shares a similar background, and can tell she relates to him a lot. Again, I wasn't too worried about this until recently. Things changed at the beginning of the summer when we discovered our youngest son would be starting at the same elementary school as the friend's younger brother. My wife organized for them to hang out together, and that first time her eldest son went with them too. The little boys seemed to enjoy each other's company, And so throughout the summer they've taken them to several different places and activities together, often just the little boys, the friend and my wife. This started to make me a little uncomfortable. Still, I didn't want to say anything about it, because it seemed juvenile to complain about. A few of the times when I was around before she took the kids out, I could tell she'd made an effort with her appearance and clothes. Through all this, he's still been coming over to hang out with my stepson. I found myself becoming angry when I found out that he was helping my stepson do some handy jobs around the house. At this point I knew I was feeling paranoid about this guy's relationship with my wife. A few weeks ago when she showed me something on her phone, I saw that she had a message from him along the lines of, "Dude, what the heck?" Obviously it's nothing suspicious unless you count a guy texting his friend's mom. A week ago he was around for family dinner and movie night, and the way he and my wife were interacting was driving me insane. It's hard to even put my finger on, but I think it was how familiar they seemed with each other, and how when my wife made a bad joke he was the only one to genuinely laugh. There was also a moment in the kitchen when I saw him briefly touch her waist as he tried to move past her. At this point I'm worried that my wife is at the least having some kind of emotional affair or possibly something worse. My wife has the time to have an affair. She's a stay-at-home mom and I work a lot. She has a highly active social life and is generally gone at least one evening a week seeing friends. Any of the times in the last few months she could have been somewhere else. Also during the summer our son spent several weeks at a day summer camp, so she was free during the day too. This whole week I felt stressed and paranoid, and decided the best course of action was just to tell her my fears and see what she says. I felt I'd either get an answer, yes or no, or have a better sense of if she was hiding something. She was not at all happy when I asked her and acted confused that I would bring it up. She said she's just trying to be a supportive person in his life as he doesn't have many adults in his life he can trust. She even showed me all her text messages with him, and although they text a fair amount there's nothing too personal or suggestive of an affair. She's really angry at me now and essentially called me an idiot. Am I the idiot? Touched her waist. That's way too familiar. You may be paranoid, but it's not as innocent as she makes it seem. Not the idiot. She's a married woman texting a 20-year-old man. There are zero reasons for those two to text. Would she be okay with you hanging out with a 20-year-old girl that stole all the boys' attention? I guarantee she would have filed for a divorce by now, uninterested in your explanation. They could text for when they're taking the kids to the park and parenting type stuff, I bet. And it sounds like they're just parent to parent or mentor type friends, but instead of him being a woman with a kid as one would expect, it's with a young man that her son is friends with. You are the idiot. You're an adult. You should be building your son's confidence, not joining him in his insecurities. Why would she want to have an affair in the first place? You drove yourself insane over this. If you've got time to be paranoid, then you've got time to work on your relationship. Being suspicious due to the sheer volume of texts is entirely rational. Time for a GPS tracker on her car when she goes out with the girls. Rest assured she's meeting the girls at the no-tell motel. The funny thing is, if this was written by a woman talking about her husband, everyone would be up in arms advising her to hire a PI, speak to a divorce attorney, etc. But because the genders are reversed, well, it's okay. Good old double standard in action. My 19 male girlfriend, 19, and I started dating last year as college freshmen. She put on a little under piece 30 over that school year. She figures out she put on between piece 10 and piece 15 this summer. She's piece 192 now at 5'6". Obviously she doesn't look like the girl I started dating last fall, which is rough on her. She says she'll always look fat in an outfit, or that she feels fat. She mentions all the time being technically obese. Last weekend though, she did something she'd not yet done, and asked me what I thought was going to happen if she kept overeating. I really felt like this was unfair because 1, it's obvious, and 2, she has made comments here and there and vented that all of her overeating needs to stop. I told her I didn't appreciate her gotcha question at all. I told her she knew full well what she was doing, and was just trying to make me say something that she could jump all over because she was feeling bad. She claimed it wasn't a gotcha question, and told me I'm just worried about what will happen if I go down this path. I told her to drop the question, take 5 seconds to think it through and figure out the simple math. She joked that I was feeling over emotional and told me that a decent guy would have answered. Am I the idiot? You're what? 19? 20. There are millions of women on this planet. When someone starts this kind of manipulative head messing, it's time to leave. Damned if you do, damned if you don't type of questioning here. Life is too short. Not the idiot. That was a gotcha question. There's no good answer that won't make her angry. The real question though is, will OP stay with me while I get fat? She's afraid he's going to leave her. That's the question this girl really is asking. Dude, it sounds like your girlfriend is struggling with her weight gain, and using these questions to seek reassurance or validation from you, which can be frustrating. It's understandable that you reacted the way you did. If you don't find her weight gain appealing, and if she's continually eating to where she's gaining more and more weight, you need to speak up. Don't just say, oh, you're beautiful, until she's 250 pounds and it's too late. You're not helping yourself or her, and all that's going to happen is you're going to lose attraction towards her. Right now she's not that overweight. It's not hard to lose 30 or 40 pounds with some dedication. You should help her before it gets worse.